my voice. Take shelter immediately. Get as far below ground as possible. If you have nowhere to go, barricade yourself in the center of your home or a basement if possible. Do not leave your home.
So obviously we're at E3. What's the reveal for Rage at E3?
Well, at this E3 we have Rage hands-on. Now Rage is quite a big game, so we had to bring a lot of stuff here. So we actually have over an hour worth of content here for people to play and to digest, and the feedback has really been great.
Cool. So I mean, obviously, an hour of content's a lot. Playtime is always one of those sort of stupid questions that people ask, but I feel obliged to do so. Could you just sort of ballpark how big Rage is?
No problem. Yes, Rage definitely is not short, because I hate paying $60 and playing a 4-hour game. Drives me nuts. So Rage is definitely up there. It's your 15 to 20 hour game. And the great thing about it is that it's open, but it's also directed. So there's a story. There's a narrative, but there's plenty of side missions. There's lots of racing that you can do, and if you wish to engage in that, you'll be well rewarded for it.
So at E3 we often talk about what's new in games, and with Rage coming out in September, can you tell us a little bit about what hasn't made the cut? Things that maybe had started to develop and then decided this isn't working?
Well, actually, the great thing about Rage is because it's a new IP and a new universe, we've actually had the flexibility to add some stuff in that's a little bit over the top. Of course, the original game, the original game design is never what comes out the end. But with Rage, it's actually much cooler now. For instance, like the mind control snares, that was something that one of the programmers added in only like a few months ago. And because it's a new IP, we can do that. Same with like the wounded guys when they're on the ground shooting at you. That's something that we added in, which is great about a new IP. We're not stuck in like a Doom, Quake, or Wolfenstein box.
Will Rage be supporting modding?
So the PC version, will. You'll need to have a 64-bit CPU, and we'll have the SDK available really close to launch. I mean, if not at launch, really close. And then you just, like other id games, you pull the console down, type id studio, boom. There it is. And now the neat thing about Rage is we have each of the different levels has a kind of a layer to it. So as a modder, you can create a new layer. You can change around the interactions, the characters. So you don't have to necessarily build a new map, but you can flex the power of the editor.
So it's made a lot of great shooters, and yet the multiplayer for Rage has no shooting at all. What was the decision behind that?
Well, there is shooting. Now, when you look at Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein, when we set out to make Rage, we knew how to do something different, and we didn't want to follow the same box. Heck, we invented deathmatch. So the multiplayer component is broken up into two modes. The first one centers around the vehicle combat. And we have a handful of game modes, from like rally modes to, vehicle deathmatch. Then we have a co-op offering, which is an extension of the single-player experience, and it's called Legends of the Wasteland. Now, you have to remember, we have other games in the works, so I think, hardcore id fans will definitely be excited with Rage, and we are not abandoning our deathmatch fellows, but we're doing something different with Rage.
Dreams stripped down beyond firelight, and seeing things unreal, and what comes crawling back again. Tears of harbor.
Would you like to bring deathmatch to Rage in the future?
Well, it all depends on how it shapes up. We like to grow our games and IPs organically. If there's a calling for it, maybe. But again, we have Doom coming up. Quake is still hot. And of course, Wolfenstein is always awesome.
I'm going to ask it, even though it's off topic. Can you tell us any more about Doom?
You're right, it is off topic.
Apophis, the great god of chaos, raised his mighty hand, and both the just and unjust felt his wrath. We call this place the wasteland. Doesn't take a genius to understand why. Justice, the way it once worked, is a thing of the past. I believe someone can set things right again.
The FPS scene's really competitive, and there are a lot of people shouting for gamers' attention. How do you feel about that in terms of designing a game, and what are your thoughts on the first-person shooter environment at the moment?
Well, the environment for the first-person shooter and the industry is really in a great spot. I mean, when you have games that sell 20 million units, that is great for everybody. I mean, make no mistake. You know, we don't need other games to suck to make our games great. And you know, the audience is growing. The potential user base is growing. So for us, you know, with Rage, we wanted to stay true to its, you know, first-person core, but we added things that, you know, you really don't have in many first-person shooters. And someone once asked me today, or yesterday, about first-person fatigue, and I think that's silly. I mean, the first-person genre is awesome. It's going to be the best genre for years and years.
Maybe you're the man for the job.